Hello, welcome to the next round of competitive lists. I got 5 O's. Today I got 7 decks that I want to talk about. One of which is going to be probably immediately, following the other. Similar decks. I think the second version might be the better one. I might try it at some point. The first one I did try for a video and it'll be featured later on. Let's get into the deck lists that have got 5 O's. I think each of them are kind of cool. They're interesting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this kind of content, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe and leave a comment down below what deck is your favorite. That way I'm more inclined to maybe play it for a video. Let's get into the decks. So first, it's the deck I played already, 4-colored Midrange by Mad Max Ernest. Got a 5-0. The deck consists of Cobra and 4 Nissas, 4 Caryatids, 4 Omnaths, 1 Chandra for control. Keep in mind that when I played this deck, I faced a lot of control, so that was a very iffy matchup, I feel like. But yeah, so the deck felt pretty reasonable overall when I played it. I was not very sure about this Magma Spray, the volley. So there's definitely some tweaks that you could make in the sideboard to improve this list. But outside of that, we have a decent amount of the main matchups addressed. I just think we should have more for the control matchup over Magma Spray. But volley is really good. Gus is good. Sphere is pretty good for Lotus Field. Hearse is great graveyard hate. Dispute is one of the best counter spells against control matchups, and then we have Flames for sweepers. So this deck does a decent job, I think, combating aggro matchups and other matchups where it's more mid-rangey, like Rakdos mid-range. Since it's very difficult to resolve your spells against control in this deck, that's something you should look out for. So that is our first deck from Mad Max for colored mid-range. Let's get into the next. So the deck that's very similar to that last one, we have 3 Cobras, 3 Nissas, 4 Caryatids, 4 Omnaths, and then we have a big Omnath, which is kind of sweet. And we still have the 1 Chandra and 3 Ugins. We have 4 Genesis Ultimatums, which is just a really good card. We have 4 Escape to the Wilds, like the previous build. We have Radiant Flames. I'm assuming this is an adjustment this deck builder made to combat Boros Convoke, because it is such a mainstream deck right now. And we have Growth Spiral. We cut a land, it looks like, because the other deck had 28. But we're still playing the 3 Hideouts, the 4 Fableds. Sideboard-wise, we have 3 Volleys, 2 Spheres, 2 Hearse, 4 Mystical Disputes. So he kind of addressed the issues that I thought that this deck could have against control. We have 2 more Radiant Flames to go with the 2 in the main for Convoke, and then we have 2 Comas as an alternative way to win the game against control. So I do like the fact that he addressed a lot of the problems that I've seen with the deck in the last iteration. So I would definitely recommend, if you want to pick up a 4-color mid-range pile, that is, of course, Genesis Ultimatum and Escape to the Wilds. This is the version I would go with. We're going to talk about a different version coming up in a few, at the very end, I should say, that I think also has some merit and has been putting up results. So let's get into the next. So next is Abzan Midrange. This is a very weird deck when I first seen this. Like, we have Shieldred, we have Blood Baron, Skyclave, Crucifix, Sifter. Like, there's a lot of random threats in here, so that is something to keep an eye on. There is a decent amount of Planeswalkers diversity here going on. We have 8 Planeswalkers in total, 2 pushes, which seems like a low number, but 2 decay. I guess that kind of counterbalances each other. Thoughtseize, we have a trophy, we have Go for the Throat, Abzan Charm. 1 charm might be correct. I might have to adjust my main build. I'm going to try to play that very soon. If you guys want me to play Abzan mid-range, let me know down in the comment section. What really shocked me was the Dawn of Hope. 1 Chariot seems very awkward. 24 lands, usually at most mid-range piles I've seen as of late weigh 25, but I mean, props to him to get a 5-0 with the deck and I don't have 1 less land. We have the other push on the board, so I guess against Convoke, aggressive matchups, We have Damping Spheres for the Lotus Field matchup. Rest in Peace for Grease Fang. Shieldred's Edict is really good against like auras, Bogles. Also, it's a decent, another cheaper interaction we could bring in. Sin Collector, pretty reasonable against Lotus Field. We could bring it in, disrupt their hand a little bit. Sky Lasher, good against spirits. And then we have another Skyclave Appetizers to bring in. That's pretty good. Calling Ritual. So this must be more for Borderless Convoke because they have a lot of permanents. Most of their stuff are like tokens and 1-drops. It can't get the big stuff though. And then we have Depopulate for a sweeper. So this deck has a decent, I think it has a decent shot at beating most decks in the format right now. So I'm actually quite impressed by this list. Of course, me being me, I would have, of course, had Atlas Norn and Siege Rhino. But I respect this list, and the list looks pretty good. If you want to try this version of Abzan Midrange, description section, and let's get into the next. So next is a Storm Herald list that also looks like it tries to bring in the better aspects from Rakdos Midrange. So we have Fable the Mirror Breaker with Blood Tithe Harvester. We have Wayfinder to fill up our yard, and then of course we have Mutt as well. I kind of think it should be 1 Mutt, 4 Harvesters, but I guess that really depends on the mana base. I haven't checked that. Liliana to help fill our graveyard. Traverse, Thoughtseize, Salvage. So we have more Mutts because it's an artifact to turn on Traverse. That makes sense. We have Witherbloom Command, Anger. So this is our combo with our Storm Herald. And then we have 20 lands. Seems pretty decent. And we have another Boseiju for artifact and enchantment removal. Also can hate on lands that matter. I can nick those. Pithy Needle, 1 Volley, 2 Abrupt Decay, 1 Croaksta, 2 Brutalities, 2 Sunslayers. I guess an alternative way to go beat down. We expect a lot of graveyard hate. Another Liliana and 2 Shieldreds, I guess for the same matchups, where we just take out these, I assume, bring in these, and then Storm Herald is still just a 3-mana 3/2 with haste, so it's not like it's the worst card in the list. These two, of course, are the worst. So that is our Storm Herald Jund list. That looks pretty sweet. If you want to try it out, make sure you look in the description for it. And if you want to see me play this list, let me know down in the comment section. Once I get the most requests, I'd be more likely to play. So let's get into the next. So next is Mono Black Devotion. It has 2 Obliterators, 2 Shieldreds, 2 Gray Merchants, 1 Big Shelly. We have a Rider, which is one of the better removal spells for this kind of deck because of the fact that it also gives 2 Black Pips. We have a Venlurker, Timaret, and we have 3 Gifted Etherborn, which is pretty good against aggro. Massacre is a pretty good sweeper for this deck, and Arena is good for the grinding matchups. So we have a Reanimation spell. We have Warlock class, which is one of the better cards. March of the Otherworldly Sorrow, Fatal Push, Clean, Thoughtseize. I'm not sure if I would want this over the one that lets you reanimate, but I totally get it. There's only 3 Nykthos, 2 Urborg, so that's pretty reasonable. Castle is one of the better cards, so I think the mana base looks pretty stock. Good. So we have Duress, Goblin for control, Pithy Needle for catch-all against Karn. We have Necromentia to get the combo pieces out of creativity. Path of Peril for Convoke. Extinction Event for mono green. Convoke maybe. Leyline of the Void for graveyard hate because it adds 2 black pips to our mana pool. And Invoke Despair is kind of a catch-all removal spell that hits multiple permanent types. Then we have Thought Distortion for the control matchup. So that is Mono Black Devotion. Let's get into the next. So next on my list is a Demonic Bargain list that attempts to exile his entire library, cast Thassa's Oracle, and set up pretty interesting play patterns. This deck used to be a legit deck for like a month maybe, and then it fell off. So I'm glad to see it return. We have a lot of one-ofs, which seems very weird. We have 4 Disputes, 4 Pushes, 4 Considers, and then 4 Cruises. 4 Suppliers to set up, and then the Arcologist also helps set up your graveyard. But it's kind of weird that we only have one Gaze, one Pierce, one Thoughtseize, one Village Rites. It's like one Make Disappear. Why are these weird, obscure numbers? But that is quite interesting. We have 21 lands, which seems pretty reasonable. We have a Dark Betrayal to get, I'm assuming, Shieldred. We have Pithing Needle, Ray of Enfeeblement as a way to hate on Mono White. Boros Convoke most of the time, and also hates on Greasefang matchup. We have another Thoughtseize we could bring against control. Dispute for control, which is Vengeance as a way to hate on small creatures. And also we have Ritual Set. And then we have Tastiker, I guess, as an alternative way to win the game. If we're facing control, I guess we bring this in so we could just smash face with a 4/5, try to get in there before they could rat the board and control the board. So I'm assuming that's what that's for. I'm not exactly sure. If you played this deck quite often, let me know down in the comment section what Tasker's for, because I am intrigued. That is the Demonic Bargain Oracle deck. Let's get into the last deck. So last on my list is 4-color Midrange. Like the other one, this is a little bit more based off elementals than, the other variant. I am kind of worried about, when I was looking at this list, like the low amounts of 2-drops and lower. I mean, Binding can be dropped on turn 2. So can Chain of the Rocks on turn 1. If you have a Sacred Foundry, which we don't have. So I guess that is primarily a turn 2 spell too. So I'm not sure how this deck actually stacks up with the 3 mana and higher type approach this deck has. Evolutionary, of course, is quite good with the landfall abilities and elementals ETBing, so that's pretty sweet. I kind of wonder if there should be more growth spirals, but Escape to the Wild is a powerful card with Nissa and Omnath, so that is a great card to have. And then, of course, we have a decent removal package with Binding and Rocks. And then we have Fable and the Mirror Breaker, which is just one of the best cards in the format. Actually, I should say it is the best card in the format. Sideboard-wise, we have Volleys, 3 of. 2 Damping Spheres for Lotus Field. We have 2 Vetoes for Control and Lotus Field. Rest in Peace for Greasefang. Dispute for Control. And then we have Radiant Flames for Aggro. So that is 4-color Midrange. Like I said, if any of these decks interest you, they are down in the comment section, where you can also go find a link to my Discord channel if you want to join it. There are also, let me know down in the comment section which decks you want to see. And hopefully until next time, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon.